Secrets. Secrets. We do have an idea where we're going to be going next, if we get the opportunity to go somewhere next. When we started writing the first one, we had an arc over 3 films. So we do have an idea. Can't tell you anything about it, though.
Bomb. James Bond. Cannonball! Been like this all day.
Did you rub my lamp?
1,000 generations living you now. Here we go.
Hey, how's it going, everyone? And welcome to FilmSpeak, where film is our second language. I'm Griffin, as always, and if film is your second language, and you can relate to everything we're doing over here, you definitely might be in the right place. Consider hitting that subscribe button. If any of you have followed me since 2016, you'll know that I'm probably the only defender of the live-action Assassin's Creed movie out there. I actually think it's a good movie. Sue me. I think that it perfectly captures the spirit of that first game, and the tricky thing about Assassin's Creed is adapting it to a film format. And I thought director Justin Kurzel did the best he could with the material he was given, especially when you take into account that he has to adapt an incredibly long game with an incredibly convoluted, complex, and overly ridiculous storyline into the confines of a little under 2-hour-long movie. That's not easy. And as alluded to by this opening, Michael Fassbender was very vocal when this film came out about the fact that they had sequels planned. However, the movie was met with less than stellar reactions, to say the least. And so the idea of a sequel was off the table. This was also going on during the Fox merger, and Disney made the quick decision to just stop the Assassin's Creed franchise in the making right dead in its tracks. And so, they'll probably reboot it. That's my guess right now. Many of you know that I'm a contributor over at The Playlist, and I have a podcast over there called The Fourth Wall, where I interview directors, actors, and other industry professionals about their most recent projects. I had the privilege of speaking to Justin Kurzel for his latest film, The True History of the Kelly Gang, which is actually out on VOD right now, available to rent in the comfort of your own homes, and I can't recommend it enough. I think it's an excellent Australian Western. But needless to say, I was excited for this interview for several reasons. One, I'm a huge fan of his work, but two, I really wanted to get inside his head as to what kind of happened during the production of Assassin's Creed, but also I wanted to hear him reflect upon his time making that film and what some of the ideas they were throwing around for sequels were. And so in this clip from my interview with Justin Kurzel, we talk about his experience making the Assassin's Creed movie. And my favorite part was how willing he was to give insight into why he thinks the film doesn't work and why video game adaptations have largely struggled. Yes, don't worry, as the thumbnail suggests, we definitely touch on what his ideas were for potential sequels, and he explains why Assassin's Creed is probably better suited for television. Something I think a lot of us Assassin's Creed fans can agree upon. But before we go into this thing, let me know your thoughts and opinions on the Assassin's Creed movie down in the comments section below. I still think it's probably the best video game adaptation we've got thus far. I know that's not saying much, but there's a lot of craftsmanship and merit to the film as a whole that I think gets overlooked. And also, let me know where you would have liked to have seen the franchise go in sequels down there as well. All right, let's get into this thing. Here is part of my conversation with Justin Kurzel talking about Assassin's Creed. I do want to touch on Assassin's Creed a little bit because, like, I'm one of the very few fans of that film, I guess, out there. I actually really enjoyed it because I'm a big fan of the games, and I thought you really captured the spirit of that first game in particular, especially when the games themselves have such a ridiculously complex and often convoluted story. I thought you guys really gave it your best with that one. But I kind of want to just talk about your experience on that and working with a studio to bring a vision to life. Was there ever any pressure from Fox or Ubisoft to incorporate characters and story threads from the game into the film, or did you have more like creative freedom with that?
I think there were certain aspects of the game definitely that they wanted, that everyone sort of felt as though would be really fantastic to have in the film. And I don't think there was ever kind of like, you have to do this. I think that the challenge is exactly what you just sort of mentioned with that film was, it is so complicated, the ideas in it, and you've got sort of two different worlds. You've got this sort of modern world of Callum Lynch, who then goes into the animus and goes back to a kind of particular kind of time. And to be honest, most people, when they play the game, that's why they're playing the game, is to kind of be immersed in a kind of particular kind of period of history. So it was really tricky, that balance of like, how much do you sort of start in the future, how much do you sort of land in the past, how the two kind of time periods kind of riff off each other. And that became the most challenging part of the writing. I mean, there are aspects of that film I really love and are really unusual, and definitely was surprised by some of the kind of feedback from it, because I think there's a lot of merit in it, but definitely the most challenging part of it, I think, was all of us trying to land what is a really complicated story. And that was from the beginning the thing that we knew was tricky.
Yeah, well, honestly, I really, given the confines of a feature film, you really did everything you could in balancing the storylines. Where it's like the games are so long, and then you have to cram all that into a film. Yeah, it becomes incredibly difficult. But like,
there's a simplicity to it that maybe, when I look back on it, I go, sometimes things need to be simple. And the idea of brotherhood, the idea of sort of going back in a period of time and joining a kind of creed, that I think is a really, like a Western, is a really, really powerful thing. And there have been times where I've looked back and thought, would it have just played in a much simpler, more sort of clearer way if it had just all happened in the past. So there's definitely sort of, that was a really fascinating kind of project in regards to, how complicated do you make things, and does cinema work best when there's a kind of simplicity in it that allows sort of many ideas to kind of breathe a little bit.
Yeah, well, and it's interesting that you say that, simplifying the story probably would have been the better route, because I have, just speaking to other people who enjoy video games and video game movies and really want to see like the one that breaks through the ceiling. A lot of people say the reason why there hasn't been one that's broken through is because of the I guess the urge to put as much from the games into the film as possible. And so I guess, you on retrospect.
I was thinking about like great books as well, that you suddenly have to make a kind of, 600, 700 page book, and it's a masterpiece, and there's so much kind of, crammed into it. How do you suddenly shovel that in 90 minutes? And sometimes I think you need to just sort of dismantle it all and actually then approach it in a very simple way. What is the most? I mean, I've just been working on a TV series, Shantaram, which is a 1,000-page book that they've been trying to make for a film for years, and now it's sort of a TV series. And actually, it was kind of a perfect format for it, because you didn't have to kind of fill it and try to. So maybe Assassins would work really fantastically as a series. Maybe
I think so. Yeah.
Maybe there's a way of sort of simplifying the concept of the game to really find. But yeah, it always felt like a Western to me. It always felt like samurai film, or a kind of like, and looking back now, I kind of think, maybe the simplicity of that, and just sort of setting in the past. It'd be interesting whether that would have worked or not.
Yeah, for sure. But before we move away from Assassins, I do want to ask you, because I remember when the film released, like Michael said that you guys had like 2 or 3 films sort of planned out, or you had ideas for sequels. I'm not sure if those are ever going to happen, but like, can you give us like any taste as to like what, you would have explored in the follow-ups to that original film?
I don't think we got down the track too far with that. I think all our focus was sort of at the time on making that first one. But look, it's obvious. It was like pick your sort of time period in which you could kind of travel into next. I thought it'd be really interesting to, instead of going back so many years, to actually kind of go back to a period in time that felt closer to the present. Yeah, it's there were many opportunities, I think, to go back to any kind of time and kind of period there for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that would have been. I would have loved to have seen it. I really would have. Well, there you have it. It's honestly incredible to be able to talk to a craftsman like him about his experience making a controversial project and his willingness to accept the faults of that film, even though I don't entirely blame him, is fascinating. And truthfully, I think we got to the heart of why video game adaptations have largely struggled. They're too complex. They try and cram too much into a 2-hour-long movie, when instead they really just need to be stripping it back and telling a cohesive story that's straightforward but still captures the spirit of the game. And so I actually really would have liked to have seen his version of the film that just took place during the Spanish Inquisition. But the most important thing is, guys, I want to hear from you all. I want to know your thoughts and opinions on Kurzel's comments down in the comments section below. Do you think Assassin's Creed is best suited for television? I want to hear about it down there. And also, guys, be on the lookout for my full interview with Justin Kurzel over on the Playlist Podcast Network. They're the reason I get to interview these incredible people. And so head on over there, read the articles that come out that have to do with my interview, and then listen to the full thing this Monday. My full interview with Justin Kurzel drops over on the playlist this Monday, so you're definitely going to want to check that out if any of this interests you. Lastly, guys, be sure to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to this channel for more videos like this, more movie reviews, and other great movie-related content. Film is our second language, and we're going to continue to talk about it here through all the madness that's going on. You can also like FilmSpeak on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, just search FilmSpeak, and lastly, if you like me specifically and you like what I have to say, you can give me a follow on Twitter at Griff Schiller. All right, that's going to do it for this video, guys, and I'll catch you next time. Take care.